Welcome to BeoTalk number 320.
Wow.
Almost 420.
Almost 420. Another 100. Another 2 years almost. Another year. No, a year and, I don't know, 8 months probably.
Yeah, we'll get there
Things
eventually.
go well.
Uh, actually, I won't. I won't be here next week, so I'll be going to your old stomping ground in Miami for a weekend.
Oh, okay. Right on.
So there's that. So 2 years.
2 years.
What else? Go buy something at Skinny Play if you haven't yet already. Use the link to get 10% off. Link is in the description and now in the chat. We're also still on Twitch if you want that for some reason. If you dislike YouTube,
For whatever reason.
come join the Discord if you haven't yet. You get much better product pictures there than you get from B&O for some reason.
Because they're real.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and they're not like edited to hell and or fake
Yeah.
or AI generated because that's the hip and upcoming thing to do.
That looks so bad, anyways.
And leave a like and subscribe. That helps because
That
we're here
helps a
most
lot.
weeks. I think we're one of the most consistent shows on YouTube. We do like what 51 weeks a year or something.
Yeah, 50 to 51 weeks. Well, you burnt one already because your hurricane thing.
Oh, I'm so sorry for being out of power.
Oh, shit. And there goes the next one next week.
If I had a whole home like generator or something like that, I would have just done it.
Because you didn't lose the network, right? Like the access to the network and internet, more or less, to the outside world.
Uh, well, yeah, we did, but that's only because the power was out, right? Like the only thing I don't know if the internet service provider was also out of power.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you didn't, if would you still be able to connect to the network grid if you had the power, regardless,
Probably,
right?
yes.
Because those things are, those wires go somewhere too, and that it ends up in another fucking room.
Yeah.
And depends if the water got into that room. A lot of people may not have internet.
Well, they're also on power backups generally.
Of course.
So, I don't know. We'll see next time. I'm not going to go through this again.
Well, you will, but it's just not in this fashion. That's basically it. It's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, next time I'll have power of some sort or another.
Mitigate the headache.
God, by the way, quick interjection. Generators have dirty power. Holy hell.
Oh yeah, that's why people that are out and they have that, like I said a few podcasts ago when I went to a service call with the generator lady, right?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock it kicks in for 20 minutes. It's not just the fact that it's bam bam to the network and the whole system, but it also is. It's a shit power. Like it's not meant for running a pair of 20s and 18s and the Eclipse and your entire Ubiquity network out of. And
Well, it's not
I
even meant to
decided.
run a coffee machine. Like, uh, I have one of those Nespresso machines, right? And that
Mhm.
went from like.
Oh my god.
And
Oh my god.
you
So
see
the
the
yeah,
coffee
just
come out like.
in streams.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah,
just
that's
thinking,
weird.
looking at that, because, like, I mean, a coffee machine pulls some power, right, to like heat the water that quickly. But
I think it does like 1800 watts or 1600 watts on the coffee on the Nespresso machines. I think that's what the peak is when you're running water through it.
yeah, but that's the whole system on a nice volume. I
That's a lot of power that it's going through. So
mean, that's like watching a movie for me.
for me too, I guess once I get these things opened, for God's sakes. Well, maybe everything happens for a reason, and the electrician will finally come back or come to do this next week because I'm getting rid of the cat tomorrow. I'm dropping her off after work, so no more kitty in the house, and then I can open the speakers And I don't care now if I have to run power cords from the back, then I'll just run a power cord from the back. Because at the end of the day, I need to update them first, because I just realized that I packed them before the last software update was released on them. It's been 2 years, 2.5 years they've been sitting in the box. And yeah, run that through its course and then go for here. I paired my 18s back yesterday to the theater, and one of them was coming back as BeoLab 11.
What?
Because I had BeoLab 11, which was the last thing I had disconnected from the WISA.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the only thing that made sense. So, I reset the speaker, but obviously speaker has the same address, so it's fucked on the theater side, right? So just sitting there like, I really have to do this. So I had to reset the theater yesterday, which is not a big deal because I didn't even have any. I just, for my speaker group sound or speaker listening presets, I created a listening position by just, manually putting everything at 1 meter for now, because I just don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever it sounds like. Once the 90s come out of the box, then I'll spend the whole Saturday tuning all this shit, because you got to do it separately.
Yeah, and if you tune for the boxes which won't be there, it's a messed up tuning anyway.
Exactly. So, and I'm gonna be ripping off the grill off the theater when I have to do it all over again. So I just do it all over at one shot, and that's it.
So still no power?
Fuck. It's just unbelievable. Like, to me, it honestly is unacceptable for a brand new building that you can't get the contractor to come back to warranty their own fucking work in a month now. And that place has been like, I rented it in August, so they knew since August I'm gonna be living in this apartment. So I don't understand. I really don't understand where the disconnect is. Like, it's just, I guess that's the Montreal's trades, man. They just don't give a shit, and I see it. I see it daily when I go work, and we do contracts or whatever. The contractor's supposed to be there, blah blah blah, or some shit. But it's one thing to be a witness to an experience of somebody else's bullshit, right? then to now sitting in that canoe and swim those water with them, like, fuck. I really don't like it. And it's just, it's to me, it's like, why can you not have somebody, like, really, are you building that many buildings that you can't spare one electrician in a day to come up here and like, I'm at least some shit out of luck on the power plugs for the 3 here. But some people are, they don't have the heaters underneath the windows working, and it's getting cold. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I'm supposed to feel lucky,
cold,
right?
yeah?
Yeah, it's not, I talked to my buddy Nathan in Calgary. They had fucking snow already on Wednesday.
So, meanwhile, it's like 27 degrees here.
I think we had about 24 degrees at the highest on Monday. That was the highest all week, and now it's just going slightly downhill and lower and lower.
I mean, last night it was like 19°C outside, and I was cold.
Ooh, that's terrible. That's embarrassing. That's very un-Canadian, that's for sure.
I'm slowly getting accustomed to it, and I'm also not used to being cold at like those sort of high temperatures.
Yeah, dude. So it's the shits. So now I'm actually pondering with the idea of, where the catch tree sits right now. Do I put the 9,000 that's sitting here right now in between the bar and shit? Do I put it there, or do I put it on the wall in the hallway? And I thought about, how do you control it then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would put an NLML converter in the box, because it's right behind where all the network shit comes into the house. So I can put an NLML converter there. I already have the gateway and the Philips Hue box in there, plus the main internet box. So it would fit still. And then connect the moment. I would put the moment here instead, and connect the moment into the 9,000 as the lead speaker for the volume control, and still have a link eye on the back of the 90s, so I can, command CD command, and it turns on the SPDIF. because I don't mind if it plays into itself inside the moment, because the moment doesn't know shit, right? It's
Just
just
be a
an
transfer
IR.
box.
It's an IR receiver, exactly. So, and that's and a trigger basically. So that tells the NLML converter to turn it on. The other way is to put it here on the floor stand, no fucking around with the walls, which I kind of prefer, to be honest. And then just run the SPDIF cable into the 90, which is right there, because that's the master speaker. And even put the link eye like on the back of the 9000 stand, or put it on the ground, or like somewhere in the window, on those cable stands that they used to have for the link eyes, and just throw it there for the ease of use, because then I can have the 9000 in IR option 1, right? So I can turn on the CD, and I don't care for the volume, going up and down on the display, because it makes no sense, no difference. And then with the CD command, the SPDIF turns on with the link eye on the 90s, and I can listen to the speakers
If you were
that
to
way.
mount it on the wall, DG exhaust, will you do it horizontal or vertical?
Vertical. I would do it vertical, and I would do it. Here's the thing: the horizontal mount with the glass on the bottom is the best way to preserve the mechanism and the mechanics of the player, other than the glass itself, because it has to work against the gravity. Not as bad as when it's on the table position. Those motors really get their money squeezed out of them for repairs for sure. But this way, there is no real strain on the lid, which you open the most, but then there is also a little bit more work for the CD player to go up and down, right? Which if it's this way, you also are impervious to dust, because the dust falls on top of the optocouplers, not on the bottom of the top of the one, right? If you have it vertically, so then needs cleaning, doesn't ever show up. And I think it looks better in horizontal, because the CDs, which I during the pandemic had fuck all else to do other than name my favorite discs on the 9000. So I honestly don't know how many hours, but I didn't go to the full 200 CD capacity, but I had put in, like, if you put in Eric Clapton Unplugged, it's going to say Eric Clapton Unplugged. And the nice thing about that is when you do name the CD in the 9000, and the next time you put it in Crooked, as soon as you played it, it straightens it out, because with the name, it remembers the position of that CD. So that's cool. And then, so that's basically, I guess,
you better
my
not get a
arguments to.
remastered version, because it won't know what it is.
Yeah, because it wouldn't. No. It has to be the original discs that I have in my boxes, for God's sakes. But some of those CDs you just can't get. But yeah, the horizontal way is the nicest, and essentially that's how it was originally designed by David Lewis, right? Because you had the names would show up on top, which was also the ability that they've had for a while, I guess, to name the CDs. And or no, that was the first time they did. It was the 3200 and 3000 that you could name after, and the BeoCenter 2. But nothing, I think, ever before that you could name CDs, if I remember correctly. I don't know if there's
I
any
don't
old
remember.
schools. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So yeah, it's I had it done back when I first lived in Auburn Bay. Oh my God, this is now 10 years ago, 12 years ago almost. I had the 9000 done vertically with the pair of 4000s in silver with the black grills, just like the catalog had. And I actually had the exact same CDs that the catalog had. It was great.
Of course you did.
But yeah, the 9000, I think it's going to end up here on a floor stand, since I have it unpacked already, and just run a short SPDIF cable. That way I don't have to use that bullshit coax out of the box, but I'll use something of a nicer quality.
You got a
I
compliment
know.
on your speakers.
I know. Thanks, bud. Yeah, they're super boxy right now. They're super boxy right now.
Are
It
they like
pisses me off.
clips?
No, 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 they're not. You said it wrong. It's clish, as some people call it. It's clish. For the love of God. Cat was a bit choked because the way I had them stacked up the other like on the against the window, which ate a lot of room optically, also because they were also I had the saran wrap on them. But I built a little thing that she slept inside of from the covers and the skates. But now I just took it all out yesterday. I had nothing better to do but move my speakers across the floor, which was a pain in the dick. But I have these slip pads, which like foam ones. I don't even know what B&O product they come from as far as packaging is concerned. And I just kind of, penguin them over to the spots where I want them to be. If I guess if they need to, they still can get inside the plug. If not, it's going to be a shit show.
It's gonna be really stupid if they're just like this looped thing and one of the thing is just not connected.
I bet you any money that it's gonna be he's gonna take the panel off. He's like, oh fuck, here, there's a problem, and it's done. Or it's gonna be a bad breaker, which at least there wouldn't be that much of a feels bad because then he would have to change it.
Maybe you should
So,
just like try shimmy doors open so you can get to the breaker box.
well, I just don't know where the main breaker to the house is, right? Because I don't want to mess with it when it's all live.
Yeah, but if
That's
it's
my only
just a
concern.
breaker that's flipped over, right? You can just do click. Yeah, you can have your own power back.
No, no, no. I looked at all the breakers, dude. I even got the breaker tracers as well from Milwaukee just because of it. And I know that the cables are going this way up above, and I just need somebody to hold, which is gonna be tomorrow when my girlfriend comes to pick up her cat. I'm gonna tell fucking you hold the goddamn cable so I can tone this out and trace it.
Yeah, there's probably a junction box where it's like, oh, we just did once, right? And then we tugged on it, and it's
It's probably something that is a Moret issue or whatever, but yeah, for now it is what it is.
live power is not that scary.
No.
I've done it in this house quite a bit. Because like we change so much, I don't know where our breakers go anymore. So during the day when I work on it, I like can't flip breakers because like the missus can't then work. Like I can't all of a sudden accidentally cut power.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that's supposed to be a plan to shut down more or less.
So I've had a few semi welding sparks.
Yeah, I'm not ever interested in that anymore. I used to do that. I used to be a hero. I fucking used to be a hero, man. And a couple times it got pretty snapped. But it wasn't even that. It was the point where I stopped messing around with this shit when I've lost almost $1,000 in fucking Lutron keypads, man. And that was that. I'm like, no, man, I'm not burning fourth one, right? Because
Yeah.
even in the cost, it was the dimmers are like $200 and shit. The keypads are 550. Well, they're more now than they used to be. But back then, like for what I could get them, yeah, $1,000 for damn near three, or $1,200 for three dimmers or three keypads. So I was like, fuck, I know, that's it. I'm not doing that. I'd rather hire an electrician for what, 40, $50 an hour for 2 hours to do it. I'll give him double what he normally makes just to fucking, here you go. Thanks for your time. And that's it. Because electricians hate doing that shit. They hate coming in and fucking changing clicker switches for keypads and dimmers. They hate doing that because they're aware of the cost of how much they could make on it, and they are choked that they couldn't sell it to you, and they're just gonna get there and put it in, right? But y'all need to just
Yeah,
understand that.
it's not the way to make money if you're Sparky.
No, no, no. That's exactly it. Like you need to understand that you're good, but it's not the fact that you're not able to sell it because you just never will be able to sell it to people.
I mean, I found out here that technically I was supposed to get a license to replace my own power outlets.
Oh yeah. Which you know
Apparently.
what? I'm not surprised in America because somebody would sue somebody because I don't even know how, but for every sticker there's been $1 million lawsuit. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
it's bizarre.
oh, by the way, it's official. Emerge Black is EOL. while stock lasts and supplies in the dealers, and that's it.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so if anybody
Just
is
because it's going so
after,
slow, or no reason given, really?
no reason given. The emerge gold tone will remain in portfolio, but I don't understand. So you guys now just introduced a BeoLink surround, and one of the best feasible solutions that you have for expanding the system, you're discontinuing. Is it because of the price? Because everything's gonna go up again.
As it always does.
November 1st, I think, from what I heard. November 1, everybody's gonna get their booty shaved by a little more. And some things are going up significantly. I don't remember exactly. I had it somewhere on the file, but I don't want to ruin everybody's Saturday, or I mean Sunday. So yeah, just if you want to buy something, buy it now or before November 1st, or at least put the money down, lock it down, because it is going to be, there is a significant percentage increase on cost of eights, that's for sure. And I don't know why the emerge is being discontinued. If it sells, we do sell quite a bit of them. You know, not as much black. I gotta give them that, because it does look like a fucking router. But they should come up with something along the silver white lines, or maybe play with different materials at least. You know, get some variety for how much you're charging for it. That's the only thing that sets them apart now, is the colors, because they all sound the same, but like, you know, your color choices are limiting the decor that they actually fit into, you know, for people to kind of agree with themselves to get it. So
Yeah.
in a place, in a house like this where everything is silver and white and black, and this kind of wood, it just makes sense to have everything in a natural aluminum. And I think that should be included in the portfolio. They did that with the basket. The A5 has, you know, brushed aluminum or brush based aluminum finish, which is nice, but it's still aluminum, right? It's still silver. So
Right, just making a quick poll.
you know, David, I never liked the Emerge, quite honestly, but I really fell in love with it in my studio when I had it in the bathroom. Honestly, like, to me, that's a speaker for that. It's not something, you know, if you stereo pair them, yes, maybe like a small office speaker, but you know, how do you really pair it with the without any major delays to your computer type of thing, unless you stream into it. But you know, now I really always saw them as a perfect solution for small sound, you know, surround effect speakers. Except, you know, there's a limitation on mounting ability, because, you know, if you got a wall bracket, I guess that would work. And you know, if you mount them upside down, it wouldn't matter. The logo would never look upside down, because it just goes the other way. And I think they're perfect height speakers, height and surround speakers for the theater. If you got a huge system, then, you know, and you're out of PowerLink and WISA connections, like some people, then you do have an option to fucking expand your system by 4 more speakers by another network.
Oh, I had a question, and I'm not sure anybody that has tried knows it. But since you can do pause, play, volume, that sort of thing,
Yes.
over BeoLink Surround, does it also take over the My buttons that are set?
Yes.
So it's not like you can set the My buttons on the 8s again. They'll
Whatever
just...
was on whatever is on the theater per se, that's the my buttons for every single speaker in the mix, plus the volume, play, pause, skip, track control.
Ooh, because then I really can put maybe one on like this walk path where I go every time for dinner, and you would just walk by and go.
Quite honestly, I guess you can pair it as a into your system as a remote control type of thing, with assigning it like a mix left and right channel into it, or mix. I wouldn't even or a center, I guess. So it just plays in the room that you have it in, because the reach of that is pretty good. I've tried it. Like, obviously, I had gone past the recommendations
Mm-hmm.
when I was in the beta with it, but I put the fucking emerge in the bedroom and see if it will work. And yeah, you trigger the source, and yeah, it's weird, of course, because it plays like a left surround channel in your bedroom, and but it
Uh,
I did it for the but I did it for the fact of like, does it actually reach? Let's say, like, what are the limitations of the actual antennae from the emerge, or vice versa from the theater? Because that's an antenna that was enabled recently with the software.
well, if it's a network type of antenna that reaches way further than WISA.
It is. It's much more stable for sure. So yeah,
I really
it
have
works
to
very well.
go and inquire about some aids.
It works very well, I would say. But for me, it's gonna have really no issue or no reason to have, because with the 90s and 18s, it's gonna be more than enough, and the theater, it's gonna be way more than
But
enough
it's
in this
not
small space.
about more than enough. It's about silly. It's about excess.
Yeah, but the problem is that the window, like, where do you get silly with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever I put closer there, it really makes no sense because of the imaging of the 90s, right?
Get
I
the
would have to
ceiling
put.
hanger things.
Fuck that, man. I'm not gonna stay here long enough to care for that. I'll do it in my once I get to Florida, I'll commit. I'll put a tattoo on my ass. But now it's just I'm struggling with myself. How many holes do I put into the walls, right?
Yeah.
Before, because more I do, the faster the visas will come, and the more I can fucking repair. So, like, all the pictures on the wall that I did are Velcroed. Like, they're 3M Velcro nonsense. It works great. No damage if I take them off. Of course, you're just gonna have outlines of, like, the sun bleach, whatever. But I don't have to patch anything. And 18s, they stand on their stands. They're fine. So that's and the fronts, obviously, there is no other placement option for these other than on the fucking ground. I was pushing him around yesterday and moving him and blah blah blah, and then I noticed, I'm like, it's 177 kilos for the whole box. So box itself is 40 kilos on top of the speaker.
Yeah, plywood is fairly heavy.
It's heavy, man. It doesn't look like it's heavy, but it is freaking heavy, man. So I slid them over.
I mean, that's like 4x8 piece of plywood at least.
2 sheets for sure.
Yeah.
Two good sheets of plywood.
It's not 3/8 inch. It's like half inch, if not 3/4 inch, right?
No, this would be. I think it's a 5 mil.
Okay.
So it's not. It's a 1/4 inch. It's not too. It's not too thick. Maybe 8 mil. Yeah, it could be a halfer, but I don't. Well, once I open them, I'll measure it. But I don't. It's not much. They can still stack one on top of another, basically.
Yeah, plywood is ridiculously strong if you make it correctly.
And yeah, the Nefab, they've been around B&O since bloody BeoVision 5, I think, or BeoVision 5 when it came out. It was in those wood boxes. They've been around for a while with them. Also, whoever is looking for a box for their 9000 to transport for service or whatnot, they are unbelievably available right now. So if you want to contact your dealer, order yourself one before they go away. There's no logos, nothing on them anymore. It's just a brown box with the most important and valuable part, the internals.
Yeah. That's probably because they needed to make new ones for those 9000C series. I mean, they need a box of some kind, right? The 9000.
Well, that's exactly why. That's what spawned that the deal that you can order it now. Is
I mean, we have our qualms with B&O, but that is something in general to be praised, right? Like that you can get something as silly as like original packaging, like 20 years later.
More than that, fuck.
Yeah, but like go to, I don't know, any other brand, Bowers and Wilkins, like I don't know if you can, but I doubt you can get like the original packaging for like 20-year-old Bowers and Wilkins 800D, whatever it was. Maybe it was just 800 back then.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think there's many manufacturers that have that much. But also, I think that by doing that, like you're really bleeding into a cost of warehousing all this shit. You know what I mean? Because they got to store it somewhere, like all these parts that you support all your product. But the luck for them is that there is not, it's not thousands of products that they've pumped out over the decades,
Yeah.
right? It's few that really make it the best, or make it ones that are really last, and then some go away. So I don't know. I think, like, for I was looking on the Exploded View the other day, and apparently like the V1 video board is still available. So I might just get one just for the shits and giggles, to keep it, because I like the 32-inch TV. It's cool. It's still IR. Sound is great for what it is. Quite honestly, it's a small ass TV. You don't need much in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't understand why, but it has a network issue, and that's why I'm kind of wondering, like, is it the motherboard, or the main board, because everything is connected to it, or is it something that uh, can't fathom? And maybe I'll change the antenna, but I don't. And I need to look for it in the boxes, which I'm gonna do the boxes once I take these out, and I'm gonna repack all the boxes inside the boxes. That's when I'm gonna look for the bloody antenna, and if not, I'll order the
If you don't
board.
want to pull a bunch of cables and make a bunch of holes, you can maybe get like a wireless Ethernet adapter that hooks it up
But
through cable.
bro, the fucking router is inside my closet, which is literally 2.5 meters, if I'm being generous now, into the antenna behind the TV.
Mm-hmm.
It is behind the TV, I understand, but that's how those were designed. Those big Tyco freaking octagon antennas that you could stick on the back of the V140 and 32s. So that's what's there. And I've never in my life had it for the years that I've had it installed and used it every morning in the old apartment. It never was on the wireless network. I actually pulled a wired cable, and it was wired for the gateway sake. And then that little Roku player was being powered off a USB inside the back of the TV with IR flash, everything built in it. So that's where and that was on the Wi-Fi, but that never had an issue. So
Yeah, but if you
yeah,
get like a wireless adapter that out of it, right, like goes Ethernet, this weird problem probably goes away.
yeah, I thought about how do you power it.
Just plug in the wall.
You know what I've done actually? I
One of
to
those
remedy
5-volt things.
to remedy it. It takes longer for it to reconnect because it has those stupid quick start timers. You can't disable them because then the TV always is completely into dead standby, right?
Yeah.
But if you go quick start timers, like I've had it set up between 5 and 6 in the morning. So at 6:30 when I wake up and I wanted to turn on the radio, 30 minutes was not enough for the TV to boot up and reconnect to the network. So I changed it between 4 and 5. And this morning I checked and it turned on with the radio on at 6:30, which is shitty deal for me on Sunday morning, but I forgot to change the BO time. So it turned on the radio, so it starts to work. Did I?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the
they're
fan
around.
mode.
I'm just
Yeah,
looking. You can get several different wired wireless Ethernet adapter things.
yeah. Joachim's asking, did you do the fan mode on your old Avant 55? Yes, I had a fan mode on my old Avant 55, and quite honestly, I've never been lucky ever since. Yeah, I've seen those mods. I mean, those adapters. They look fucking terrible, man. Look at all these antennas and shit sticking out of it. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but put it somewhere you can't see it.
Yeah, there is nowhere I can't put it beside, other than like beside my head, which is definitely not happening. I'll just leave the TV as it is. Fuck. No, I thought about that. I would have bought this already a long time ago in the studio for the theater, and play with the gateway there, which we'll see. Go from there. But anyways, back to that fan mod. Man, I've done a whole bunch of them for people, and quite honestly, I cannot get the same fan that I had found in the recycling bin of our old, like in Calgary, we had the little recycling bin where people threw their fucking whatever, and somebody just threw a bunch of Toshiba laptops out, old Toshiba laptops, and I pulled out that fan, and it was very, very fast. So in order to reduce the RPMs, I soldered two Maglite They were in the solitaire series, but the regular double A Maglite flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
I took the bulb and the spare bulb, and I soldiered them in series, which brought the RPMs down to like a negotiable noise levels. Once you had it put inside the back of and I stuck it on the board of the Avant, and that was the only time that I was able and was happy with the noise dB performance versus what it was doing, because it was moving quite a bit of air, like quite a bit of fucking air, and it worked like a charm. But some of the fans that I find now, especially on Amazon, even though you pay $20-$30 for some of these fans, Noctua doesn't make fans that are going sideways or blower fans unless they're really big. You want to stick within the territory of up to 20 what is it, 2.5 centimeters or 250 mil. That's your target square per se, and not more than the 10 mil thickness, because you
Yeah.
got to account for at least a little bit of offset that you're going to build up with the double-sided foam tape, and then you stick the fucker on, and also you have to divert the flow so it blows downwards, and just because there's no place to put it from downwards to blow upwards through the board, but
Who
put it as
was it?
closest to the board.
I think it was very early on our Discord. Somebody put 2 Noctua fans in the back of the chassis and cut like little slits out.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get the Noctua fans that start up on 5 volts and just run at 5 volts, right? I think they even start at like 3.5 volts.
Yeah, it just depends what
But
fans you get, because if you
but
from the
that's a
USB.
DIY thing, is, and you take the back of the TV off and actually start cutting in the plastic, not like where you sort of hit it out
Mm-hmm.
sight, kind of like going 90 degrees in and out.
The only problem that I have with that, then you kind of sort of not anymore are able to use the back aluminum covers, because those slats you would just cover them up with those covers. So it's an open concept kind of shiitake look. That's more or less, I would say, for something or someone that you have the TV built in set, and you have it on the devil's STB bracket, which has no give. Like, and I've done those. They look fantastic, man. But it's another one of those installer nightmares, especially when people wanted, like, I wanted an 1.5 inch on each side. I'm like, well, fuck, the up 1.5 inch is going to be barely where you can stick your hands in and put it in after you've connected it all. But yeah, if you're fixed a couple of ounce before, then you know exactly. I don't know if you're in Europe or if you're in Canada or US per se, whatever region you're in. I'm in the region where I'm lucky enough that I don't have those goofy ass cards that you have in the Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I
The
have a
CI
plenty of
plus.
yes, the PCI MCA ports, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have the TV is actually in our boxes. So I have a plenty of real estate where I can stick that fan on, which if you are in Europe, you're a little bit more in a tougher spot because of those 2 boards. Hey, Stefan, what's in those boxes? Well, next weekend you won't see because the podcast is off, but in 2 weeks I am more than certain, because I will start fucking fire downstairs in the garbage cans of all the offices if they don't fix my electricity in 2 weeks. And I'm gonna have the speakers. Set up. So yeah, by then hopefully, and I guess the biggest nail biter out of all of it is just to go and software update those. But I've never had a knock on wood. I've never had an issue with it. Just daisy chain them, and that's it. Yeah, I have no power. I think it's a bad breaker, bro. I don't know. I've traced the cables, but I can't turn off the main power into the apartment. Therefore, I know touch, because the last thing I'm going to do is, somebody finds me here 2 weeks later with poo running down my pants, glued to the fucking live breaker box. No.
Earlier question from Ed Mabu. Actually, he has 6,000 as rears. Thinking about change for a pair of levels on the wall in terms of sound. Would it be an improvement? I already have 1 level, so we just need 1. I think so, but for doing it for the price, I think it's yes, it's an improvement, but it's marginal for like the cost of spending.
I don't know. I never tried it with the levels because I only have one as well. But I'm very surprised how much better the level sounds than two emerges.
Yeah, but like 6000s aren't terrible either. Like they're not the best speaker, but I would say
No,
if
my
like
question, I guess, would be for the 6000s, what condition are they in? If and that also it doesn't really matter because if they're too old, I would honestly have them serviced and pull out all that foam and shit out of it before your boards are completely get disintegrated and affected by it. And the second, I would check the bass drivers for cracks.
yeah.
And they're not that expensive. Just fucking replace all that. That's what I would do with all that, and put them in the system anyways. And if you're really itching, get the level for the second level and put it in. If your
Have
dealer's
7.1
cool,
with levels further back.
if your dealer's cool, I think he wouldn't have an issue borrowing you one just for the weekend or just having their demo there, for Sunday night or whatever when they're closed.
Yeah, they probably have 2 or 3 store demos anyway.
So, well, at least one. We have one open box. So,
Because
but
you
anyways,
probably
like,
have the black one, the oak one, and then depending on how good your dealer is, a special color one.
yeah.
So there's that. Flores has asked about this weird orb thing from Morance. It's not my cup of tea, I must say.
The fuck is that? Subwoofer?
No, just a general speaker. I think it's sort of a round soundbar kind of deal.
You know what it reminds me of? It looks like a keychain from the B&O, like what is it? The A3 or whatever, the A1 or A. It wasn't the A5 because A5
Yeah.
was the CD racks.
I mean, it almost straight dead on. It looks a bit like a De Viollet speaker.
That's what I thought in the first, but it still doesn't look like it. I thought it was like somebody's take on the BeoLab 19.
I mean, Morance, yeah, they'll probably sound fine, but it's like, what the hell? It's not my cup of tea.
Flores is asking with regards to Bio Remote, you can control Apple TV. Is it possible to control Apple TV through the Samsung TV theaters connected directly to HDMI ER? Yes, it is, but I would hook the Apple TV into HDMI A, B, or C on the theater, and even stick a fucking puck on it, bro. Because the last what is it, 17.4 update from the Apple had completely ruined the CEC protocol, and then people just lost their mind. So if you have it doubled with a puck, it's just as snappy because CEC takes preference over IR in that sense. But if the CEC gets broken, then Mr. IR is still happy and flashing, and you're still navigating your TV. And you will realize that by just the fact of a minute slowdown in response time.
Oh, by the way, I saw like everybody had the joy of the LG update lately, and then the B&O update for the app on the screen recently, right? That was it went so smoothly that everybody's shit broke. I gave it a day in a power cycle, and I haven't had to touch my stage since. It's been fucking perfect since then, which is amazing because it hasn't been for the last 3+ months. So I'm actually very happy with the outcome. The process was bloody painful. But
No, it's the same.
it was to the point where, like, with my stage in the bedroom, I would have to turn on radio first before giving it a TV command, because otherwise the TV would just default to LG channels for some reason.
The only thing that I noticed with the LG gotten all fucked up on me is it took about 3 times longer to turn on the YouTube once the TV was on. Like a lot longer. And last few times I had the TV come on with no sound from the theater. I had to go to the, I switched the source because usually switching the source to Netflix would work. Switched the source to Netflix, it didn't. So I went to just hit net radio or BNO radio. It fired up, sound came out, and then I went back to the YouTube, and it came in, and it was working. So it's I don't doubt, like mine is a G2 panel, so obviously there are speed limitations comparatively to the newer TVs, and I noticed that by working with them every day.
Mm-hmm.
Coming home, but it's not something like it's negotiable, but it's not something worthy of mentioning, in my opinion. Picture wise, yes, but interface, no fucking difference, especially when you're running it through the theater with the Bluetooth remote. The delays are identical, in my opinion, completely. But yeah, the picture and the brightnesses are two different things. That's the only thing that varies. uh I don't know if anybody played with a BNO app. If you've had it if you had it for a while, go click on it and update your BNO app. Maybe that also will fix your weirdness with the eARC and the actual talking.
It literally fixed my stage. It's been solid ever since. Like, I haven't even factory reset it. Like, I just had to wait a day, and ever since then, because we were on the phone, right? And, like, literally
Mhm.
nothing worked, and then intermittently it worked, and then it didn't work at all anymore, and power cycled this, that, and the other. And it still
Oh
didn't
yeah.
work, and then 24 hours later, oh yeah, we're rock solid now, it's fine. Which is like,
But did you update the app inside the LG panel or no?
yeah.
Yeah,
But
see.
regardless, nothing worked. Like
Yeah,
the
that's weird.
B&O remote worked perfectly for radio, but nothing else. And off, by the way. On off worked as well.
That's so weird.
But I couldn't change channels. Like, once the TV was on, like, you couldn't turn the volume up or down. Like, you didn't do any of that.
I've had that in the showroom where the volume just went out to lunch completely.
I
On
couldn't
the
even
stage.
change the LG channels. I was just stuck on a channel.
So the comms completely fell off the wagon. But I think it's from
Except
the,
for the on-off, which is so strange.
because that's, I guess, like the most rudimentary eARC command.
Yeah, I guess, because if you pressed on or if you pressed off, right, like it's
Hmm.
not just the theater that went off; it was everything went off, including the panel. And then, like, the morning after, I had this weird thing where, like, I turned it off, everything turned off, and then the panel came back, and then the theater came back without touching anything. So you press off again, and everything goes off again. And like 2 minutes later, everything turns back on again.
What the fuck? And what, into HDMI 2 or HDMI 1?
HDMI 2?
I've had that in the shop as well, but I've had it with the while the TVs go to the BNO app menu. No, if you go to the home menu of the LG screen, both harmonies and stages would do that.
Yeah. Anyway, like 12 hours later of just being off and like cussing and that sort of thing.
It hurts
and,
your prayers.
and sort of dreading of like, I have to get all these bloody passwords again for all these apps and things.
Oh yeah, because you got to reset the shit.
Yeah, and since we don't have cable, everything is app based, right? So it's like everything is app.
You don't got the QR code thing that you do?
Does Netflix do that? I don't think so, right?
Hell yeah, bro. Netflix, Prime, Disney. Disney's got like, couple, they flick your balls a little bit with nonsense, but it's not bad.
Disney, yeah, I knew from Disney.
I think Crave even does it. And I think that's it that I care for. And Tidal does it through that goofy little whatever you go to you have to be on the same network, I guess. But and again, you can now actually you can do a Tidal as a My button.
Good, finally.
BTW, but it'll only let you play your playlists. So you can select a playlist. I don't know, have a morning playlist, I guess, or afternoon playlist, and you can set it up. And obviously with the atmosphere tab, so you can set your speaker presets or listening positions, default volume, and sound that you want. So for me, that would be direct, 100%, 90s only. And I would know, like, I don't even think the 40 volume is necessary, for God's sakes. I was juicing the shit out of it, man. I realized, like, here, if I put it to like 55 that I had, volume side, just the TV itself, it is way too fucking loud compared to what it was in that little studio. Like, that's how much ambient noise was around and outside all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's silly how far less noisy it is when you get out of downtown. But then again, living by the fire station and metro, and no more.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it seems like my stage fixed itself. I haven't dared to update the panel attached to the theater yet. I'm just gonna let that go into like a month from now, 2 months from now.
When was the update? There was an update on it?
Yeah, for when the LG changes stuff and then the B&O app, you already did it.
Because I'm wondering now what the software I'm on. Just to see. There we go. There's the podcast. Think. Let's go to the settings.
Got to update. It changed something in their GUI, and I think they're universalizing it a bit or something.
Yeah, 133085 is what I have for update. What pisses me off? They have like, B&O's bad with that, and they changed, but these motherfuckers have no release notes whatsoever. You gotta go look for them and stuff. It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh, also, I had ordered the rear, freaking expensive, bro. I was so choked, but I ordered it anyways. The rear part for the B&O remote, the Halo. And yeah, I'm gonna rebuild it. And I ordered a piano black chassis, not black anthracite, because that's usually what's available now. So it's gonna match the little Beosound 2 right there, standing on the kitchen. So it's gonna be fine.
Do you want to go boating?
Not with this fucking thing on it. That's for damn sure. Like, I don't care how much IP standard that has. That's way too expensive to take on the boat. On a yacht, yes, somewhere nice, James Bond like. But
those smaller Rivas, right? They're only like 300 grand. Like, surely that's.
It is beautiful. I have to give you that. Like, they did a nice job at that. They definitely did.
So this is one thing where like it pays to have like somebody that takes professional pictures, right? Like
that's nice.
Yeah, but that's the picture of the actual thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we're gonna end up having one. And also, I think the theater, Ferrari edition, I think it's. I don't think it's even more. It's. I think it's 6 months lead after you order it to get it. It's a lot. It's a lot of waiting time, but.
So put them next to each other. So the color difference, i.e. real life, versus whatever B&O did to mangle it, is quite stark. I mean, I put them side by side, but like, I like the real thing a lot more. Like, a lot more than whatever this picture is.
So which one is real?
The left.
The left, right? Yeah. So what is it? It's oak and walnut?
I think so. It's teak, probably.
or teak. But if they did that, then that's a hell of a job on the wood matching, because those slats are not like on the theater when their teeth are random colors, basically, right?
Yeah.
Which I understand for I guess the wood variety and how the wood is as the grain goes. But I don't know, man. I would have like just like the Cubans have the ladies that roll the cigars, and then there's ladies that sort the cigars based on the grade and color. I think that for the amount of money that these grills are going for, they should have like a walnut guy or whoever else that sorts these by approximate color, so then the grills look more unison. But that's just what I think. It is nice, I have to say. It's definitely like if I had a boat of that money's worth, I would buy it because piss on it, why not? But I'm not a boat guy, bro. Like, yes, I had gone down the Bow River in Calgary on a rubber dinghy a few times drunk, but that doesn't mean that, I can go fishing on a yacht. It's not my cup of tea. I like solid ground.
Wait.
I don't trust the water.
Okay. My microphone just quit for some reason.
I don't know. Well, you couldn't defend yourself.
No, I don't know. It's been doing that recently. And nothing changes. I don't even touch it, right? And all it changes to fix it is just.
If I were to do that, and let's just say, I guess the cost aside, if I were to order one, I would order one that is walnut grill, obviously. But I wouldn't get. I don't know. I just don't. The color of the Beosound 2 is very nice too, but then again, it's B&O picture, so it's really hard to say.
We have a picture of that too.
We have a real pic somewhere.
This one. I have to find the correct one because we have a professional photographer on the Discord, and his pictures are so much better than whatever B&O decides to do.
Yeah, Anders takes good pictures. Great pictures, actually.
It's not Anders, actually. This is Karel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. As I know Anders, he posts a lot on Instagram and so on, so I see that.
Like, the Beosound 2 is bloody gorgeous in real life.
I love that ring on the top, man. The teal ring. Did you notice that on the volume wheel? That's sick. Because it's actually machined in. And I guess anodized, because they're not going to use that, like the lapel pin paint to fill that shit with. There's no way. So that ring is definitely a cost. It sucks that some of those things you can't order on a spare part. Like, they really keep it locked down, which I appreciate, but it also makes you feel bad if you have some more on the dents you're, precious. Because, like the Ferrari edition, you're done for, right? That's now you live with the dent and the memory of the dude doing it or whoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
or
ring
your child.
Oh God. And that sparks a completely different hatred. But it looks very beautiful. I really, that accent on the ring is cute. So.
Or cats, KCBR says. Yeah, but it's really hard to stay mad at cats. It's much easier to stay mad at people.
Or a dog, but the cats, they get cute right away. They know how to work you.
Just go watch Shrek or something. That thing with the eyes, right? Like, that's a real thing.
They do that, yeah. They definitely do that. They know how to work it good. But yeah, she's just now having her moment in the bed. So yeah, she's a good kitty. But I still don't trust her because she's sleeping on the Lab 90s boxes, right? So I'm like, if I unboxed that before, so I don't want to wake up in the morning to walk over for a morning piss and catch my cat in the corner of the eyes, sleeping on the 90s with a nice trail of claws. How did she got up there? Ooh, that would be a bad morning, not just for me, but for the kitty too.
Like, this essentially to me just looks like it's. Like, these edges are so weird. It almost looks like it's like pasted in or something.
It's definitely a rendering, in my opinion. Like, because there's really no like real reflection. There is a little bit that they try for where your mouse pointer was or is now,
Yeah.
from the chair, but I would expect that you would catch a little bit more. Like if I look at the Lab 11 in the corner, like it takes basically the entire room as far as the oval of it. And
But
that's polished. I understand. It's the same thing with this. Maybe not, because you can't really see much from the, let's say, on the BeoLab. Here, I have a Beosound one in black, so you can totally see it. You see? Like, it's not,
yeah.
you can't. There we go. So it kind of looks, depends on how you look at it, I guess.
But like compare this color to either side, right?
Well, none of them look real, other than the middle one, I guess, is what it is.
Well, the thing is, the middle one is real,
Yeah,
but it's a totally different hue of blue.
yeah. I guess it really depends on the play of light. It really does.
Well, I
And
mean, I like the semi-fake one on the left. I could live with that, but whatever the product picture is on the right here, like that's almost awful.
That's what you see at night, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't understand what the.
Yeah, but do you put like a matte paint on it at night every night, and then in the morning, like take it off, or?
I don't know, man. I remember B&O having awesome photos in their catalogs when the magazines were around, and then slowly shit went digital, and now it's all whatever renderings that they do. I understand, guys, that it's cheaper, but man, it looks so much worse than the real product.
Yeah,
I
I
can
have
take
like
a better picture with my phone than with what the normal rendering comes out on the website.
I have like 200 gigabytes of your old photos, and they're all better than this. Even with the
Yeah,
angry vegans and stuff, they were better than this.
I remember those days. I still have like all of my wallpapers are B&O wallpapers, just rotate through, but I haven't updated them in a while.
I mean, I had a
Not time
bronze
for it.
Beosound 1 at the time, and even that was kind of terrible on the website, because it sort of, on the website, it sort of looked like a poo brown. And in real life, it was like copper and shiny, and in real life, it was really nice. On the website, it was sort of like, why would you buy this like brown cone-shaped thing?
Mhm. I don't know. It's weird to me. Like the I guess the first weirdness with the color started to me noticeably was the V1 Cuban edition that they called it or whatever. That Havana
Mhm.
Brown or whatever it was. I only got to see it once in Denmark in 2015 when I was going the factory tour, and that looks so much better than what the pictures showed. But
Yeah,
too bad
it's
the TV was gone.
it's expensive for what it is, but it's not any more expensive than a Ferrari edition. I don't think. I think that was the same price.
I don't remember. I know that the Atelier are over the top.
Yeah, so it's more or less the same. Like, if I think the Ferrari may have been 5,250 or 5,500, like this one is, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's a bit much for an A5.
After the new sub-run price increases, it won't be that far out. Especially on
But
its
again,
stuff is going up.
I have a feeling for like pictures, they shoot them raw and color correct them. But it's almost like it's color corrected by somebody that doesn't know what the actual color is.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always a disconnect between all these. For me, oak and light oak is the same. I don't have the capacity color-wise to see the difference. And I've seen a lot of damn grills, man. Women, for some reason, can tell,
Yeah,
which
but
I understand, but I can't.
it's mahogany. But like this looks like smoked oak or something in the picture.
It's
In the
mahogany wood.
yeah.
Mm,
I mean, but
it's
this is
expensive wood.
yeah, but this is like real life, right? Like the difference in color hue is enormous.
Yeah, I don't get how they do that, man. Honestly, I don't know what filters they apply to have their products approved look in certain ways, but to me they're always looking little too much of what the normal colors. And we've talked about it with the Atelier edition. My pictures with the real sunlight on a regular phone
Was better.
compared to what there is on the website, it's completely two different colors of a product, man.
I mean, I don't dislike either color, right? Like the one on the left that they put out is nice. The one on the right, which it is in real life, is nice, but potentially nicer. But what I'm more sort of somewhat complaining about is that they don't match. If you think you're buying this because there's no dealer next to you, because you're out on your boat, right, on your Riva as you are, and you just go like on your phone and go like, oh, this will match my boat, and you press it and you get the thing on the right, and it's like, that's a different color.
Well, what if it does match your boat? What if it's the same wood species that's what I would expect that they're using is the same wood species? Screw the Photoshop of B&O, but like I think that what you're getting is
Well,
the
then,
same wood finish, right? That is on the boat.
sure, but then you have the inverse, and it's like, hey, why does this not match my Riva?
I want to see the damn picture with this thing of the Riva on the Riva boat. Yeah, it's the same wood, man. So it has to be the same. It's just the B&O's play on colors and filters and whatever they're using for filters is what's mucking it up, in my opinion, a bit. But yeah, I'm sure they sourced that wood from Riva to do the grills. But if I were to buy this over a level, I would probably go with the level still, for at least the sound quality. The imaging on the level is much superior than it is on the A5.
I mean, this is a Riva for Ferruccio Lamborghini.
Of course it is.
So
Yes,
like,
it's sort of same.
yeah,
But yeah, I understand what you're saying, that it doesn't match the picture that is immediately in front of us.
but
But
the
that don't
real
mean
life
shit.
wood looks much more like the bloody boats.
Well, it probably is the same. It's the same color of it. It has to be. Maybe it's not lacquered as thick, if it's even lacquered.
Yeah.
So, anyone experience H100s? Yes, we have. But the problem with H100s, if you want to get your ears on covered with those, you're gonna wait till January now because they're back ordered as hell. Mike is a lucky bastard. But
I did a video. It's on my channel.
yeah, go check it out. But yeah, I don't know. It's another one of those special editions. Cool. Next, I wonder what the new products are. I wonder when that feature that they've been talked about for a long, long time is going to be enabled for your, what is it, the variable sweet spot or whatnot it's called? That it
It was
traces
supposed
your
to
phone.
be here at the what? I think they said the beginning of this year, and it's still not here. I don't care for it. It may be the coolest thing ever, but it just means you have to like keep your phone on you all the time. And then I wonder how accurate it is, whether it matters if it's in your left or right pocket.
You have to have it on your neck.
Yeah, you have to get like a lanyard and your phone right here.
Maybe B&O will have a lanyard for it. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I really don't understand it. I don't think they should have even mentioned it as a feature to begin with, because it's not a feature. It's more a pain in the ass than anything to have it trade, because it depends. Like you have to be bound to your phone. What if you put your phone a little bit off to the side? Now all your imaging is messed up. It makes no sense to me. So for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I do like I actually, out of the people that I see owning B&O, I think Riva boat people are much more likely to own B&O than the Ferrari people. Because you can
I
have a
kind of
Riva
sort of
and a
agree.
Ferrari, but it's not necessarily like you can also. That's probably more out of the ordinary than having like a Riva and a Bentley or a Riva and a Rolls.
We have a lot of clients that have B&O and own Ferraris. We have a few clients that think that the Ferrari Beosound 2 was sold to because it went to the Ferrari garage.
Oh,
But I'm sure.
I'm sure they exist, right? But for like upper class Europe, like because a Riva is like way more expensive than most Ferraris, right? Like Rivas are like ridiculous money. Like, have you ever inquired into like high-end boat prices? Like, we're talking about a boat that is maybe 2 car lengths long, right? You couldn't sleep on it, like other than maybe nap. But with Riva, you're gonna, I don't know, pay 500,000 USD for that, if not more.
You're not buying the boat; you're buying a refinement.
Exactly, but like if you
it's
buy the
different.
top of the line Rivas, like this is one of those. Oh, I'm going over there, right? And it's quicker over water, and like it's sort of with my scarf.
Well, no. It's an experience. It's the same thing. Like if you can ride a Civic to your work, or you can just have a nice ride in a Bentley if you have the money for it. It's a different experience. So yeah, I get it. It's a different universe, and I see these people every day. So for me, it's not really something that is, I would say now, mind blowing or whatever. I slowly has gotten desensitized to the audacity of some people's decisions of what they do with their money. Honestly, but it is what it is.
Oh, I'm not. I don't mind that. That's not why I'm criticizing. I'm more saying like the Riva people generally are in a different price category than just Ferrari people. Like, and I'm not saying
Yeah. Well,
if you have a house in a Ferrari, like good for you. I would love to have a Ferrari too if I didn't care for the service and that sort of thing, right? But I'm not in that financial position. But if you have a house and a Riva, your car generally is like Ferrari, sort of like my third or second car, right? Well, second probably not even. It's probably third, fourth, fifth, something like that. Your main car probably comes with a driver.
and yeah, also what Ziga says, the maintenance cost of the boats is different level too.
Yeah,
because that's a different story. And where you store it during the winter, what if you have high winds in the dock, fuck up your sides or whatnot? Like there's a lot of headache. I have a lot of clients that on the western side of Canada that have boats, but they all have like these mechanical lifts that you park the boat and it comes off the water, and then you just cover it and it sits there till it's time to go take it down into the water again.
Like KCBR says, the Rivas he's seen are all above 2 million USD.
So
and these are like a sloop. They're pleasure crafts, right? Like
yeah. It's not something that
it's not a yacht in any sense of the word. Like it's actually kind of bare bones.
It's not a ferry.
No. Well, it's not even like, oh, I'm gonna go on holiday with this thing. No, this is like I'm gonna go on a lake and like be pretentious a little bit, and then like be Italian, right? And have like long swoopy hair and have a shawl that I do that with all the time, right?
And slam my Riva A5 at full volume.
Yeah, but it's probably playing classical while you do it. So
ABL won't kick in. It's gonna be loud. Oh man. Most of the people that I have as clients that I turn on the music, or they turn on the music right away, you can tell they're either doctors or lawyers, but mostly doctors listen to classical music for some reason, always.
It's probably because they listen to it in the
operating in a surgery room. Yeah, it's so weird, but yeah, that's the. Some people are hard to gauge. Some people are easy to gauge. Entrepreneurs listen to a lot of modern music.
I mean, way back in the day, I used to work on boats a little bit, like sand and paint and maintenance, that sort of thing. And this guy had a nice boat, and you could, like, it was sort of like, what would you say? It had 2 decks, and you had like a sort of like camper style sleeping arrangement, but you could make that work for a week, right, or 2.
Yeah.
But that boat, I mean, it was large enough to be comfortable on, but like if you compared it to a Riva, it's like this is just plain cheap. And the Riva is like impractical as all hell.
I've never seen one here. I've never even seen one on like the boat shows, because then there's a lot of boat shows in Calgary. Because obviously it's funny that Alberta has more boats per capita than British Columbia, which has ocean to it.
I think Rivas are like handmade in Italy.
Mm.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
so
Also, to get it over would you probably put it on a ship to put the ship on a ship, right?
yeah. You don't have that float over here. You have it brought over here.
Yeah.
That's a different money again. Just
I mean, in terms of sailing, something totally. I found out there's something called the Big Loop, which is kind of interesting. From here, if you could and people do this apparently, you can take a boat, go down Florida, go up to New York, go into the river system between Canada and the US, and then go down by Chicago and come back here.
No way, really?
There's all connected waterways. Like, it's hard to navigate, but you can do it quite easily, and people do it like every year.
That'd be a cool experience.
Yeah. It'll take you a month or two, but that would be a nice vacation.
Yeah, because I could see that go through even through Montreal up to St. Lawrence River. You can get up quite far into the inland. And yeah, Chicago's not that far from this side here.
Yeah.
To go down. Yeah. Interesting.
Are you still expecting BeoLab 5Cs for the anniversary year?
Somewhat, but I don't know. Like, there is no chatter of any kind anywhere inside, like what they're gonna do for the 100th birthday. So I'm actually glad that there isn't, because that means that they're really keeping it down, locked down, secret. But I think somewhat writing on the wall would be the fives. I don't know what they're gonna make it with, because they already kind of blew their whistle on the 9,000 CD player with the 28s, which I think if they should have if they were to redo the classic system, in my opinion, they should have done the lap fives, redone lap fives with the 9,000 redone, and put the little goofy box so it can talk to the Mozart stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I don't know. Maybe they're gonna do it in not for the 100th birthday. Maybe they'll do it for the 101 or 103 to celebrate the 30 years, because they'll probably have enough time to get all that sticky paint off the chassis and repaint them. It's fucking nonsense.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Oh Christ, on a cross with that paint, man. Like, it's some of the lap threes, like, you can hold them just like that because they stick to my glove. Like, the paint is and it's not even here. It's not to just throw the B&O under the bus with that paint nonsense decision. Macintosh, man, I got the fucking. It's like a $40,000 amplifier thing, right? Heavier than Cardinal Sin. It's two guys to fucking. We put it in the van and drove it over to the shop, took it out, and unwrapped it from the bubble wrap to test it. And I grabbed the remote, man. It's the same paint as the Lab 3. So this $50,000 amplifier, the remote is absolutely McNasty. And if I were the owner, I would just probably, the problem is that if you do take the fucking, rubbing alcohol to it, so goes all the writing.
Yeah.
So then you blind match the buttons because you don't know what is what now. But yeah, that was a very big mistake for a lot of dealers or a lot of manufacturers that had chosen to touch soft paint, especially if it was left in the sun. That just totally killed it. So there's that. I'm still keen on. I think tomorrow night, when the cat is gone, I'm gonna crack the boxes. It is 48 clips per speaker. I know, I counted them the other day. So it's 48 clips that I have to take off to take the panels off. I'll leave them on the pallets just in case I have to move them I can't take them off the pallets. But once I take them off the pallets, I think I'll borrow the second pair of skates from the shop. So in case the electrician needs to get around the plugs and shit, I can just roll them out here, do your thing, and cough already. But I think the problem is inside the breaker box. That's all. That's it has to be there. And in the
I
meantime, I'll
have
just
a
run another
feeling it's a
extension.
loop in the ceiling
Yeah,
somewhere.
something's messed. So I'm gonna wait. But I'm dying to fucking open them up, man.
I mean, how many zones are there in that apartment? Like 2, maybe 3?
No, I have a bunch of breakers. All the appliances have their separate breaker, apparently. And there's a double breaker that does this zone. So it's literally a dually in a single slot.
Mm.
The top side works, the bottom side, which is this, doesn't. So I think they're either wire just snagged out when they were putting the cover on or some shit. He didn't tighten
The
whatever
lock
those
nuts,
screw.
yeah.
Yeah, the lock nuts, and the cable just came out, and it's just hanging there, and I'm sitting here with no fucking speakers in the boxes still. So yeah. Matthias would never buy a mono speaker. I don't know what you mean by mono. I guess you're talking about like a Beosound 1, Beosound 2, because usually they're all stereo.
Do you mean
A1 is
single
a
point or
Bluetooth.
do you mean actual mono?
I guess you could buy one BeoLab 28 if you wanted to. We have sold one like that.
Yeah, but even if you play any source into that, it'll figure itself out that it'll play both left and right. It's not
Yeah, it
mono.
down mixes. It's mono, but both channels are down mixed.
Well, it's mono in the sense that it's
You
singular
don't have
points,
stereo.
right? But it's not
Yeah.
like it only plays left.
Yeah, no.
Or it only plays mono mixes, because believe it or not, those are still out there.
Yeah.
Where it's
What I
like
find
left, right,
weird-
no. It's just done with one mic. Like the whole band is done with one mic.
It's like, yeah, no, it's not like that. But I don't know, like even the little Explorer has its stereo more or less. If you put it in the corner, you can still listen to it, and it's obviously it's a personal speaker. It's nothing crazy, but everything is stereo more or less. Balance is stereo, even though it's a single point speaker. So is the Beosound 2.
Yeah.
A5 is a stereo speaker in a way, but it's not something that I'm going to sit in front of and listen for imaging. It's just
it's the same way Beosound 2 is, right? But
it's a background music speaker. Yeah,
maybe a bit better because like it's that much further away in the stereo, but like you have to like hold it like this to hear the separation.
Level is stereo, but you don't really hear the stereo out of it unless you stand or sit in front of it and listen. But I never
again,
do,
have
honestly.
it like right here.
Yeah. And you know what? For like Emerge being given that it's a mono speaker, quite honestly, like I have my Emerge in the bathroom. Do I really care for a stereo imaging while I'm having a shower or brush my teeth or do whatever? I don't care for that. It's a single point source of music just to have something that continues from the main room. And yeah, I don't. Well, it's your argument or opinion, not mine. But I don't think that it really depends on where you put it. The burger is great. If you buy two of them, you have a stereo. But one is I like this over the Explorer for a simple reason of the great speakerphone ability that it has. So
for me, this is my most underused speaker.
Same here. I actually gave mine away, so it's no longer here. I need to buy a black one just for the sake of having that goofy stand that I bought. I have something sitting on it. But yeah, I don't. I never really use it. I used to use it downstairs when I was washing my car, but that is no longer possible in this parkade. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Still like this. Saved my ass when I was rebuilding this house initially. It just like hung there and played. And
the only thing
the bass would also do this to it. So
that's the only thing is that it dances with the bass.
Yeah, but that's why I hung it right. Like this wasn't attached to anything.
Yeah, I usually have it sitting down if I listen to it. But yeah, that speaker is great. Even though it's mono, I guess. But
yeah, but that's not what mono is. That's a single point speaker.
Yeah, it's a single point speaker, but again, like to me, it makes no difference because it's something that I do. It's a companion. It's not something that I actually sit in front of actively listen to. Like that, there's a big difference between those two things. It's the same thing. Like even if you have a surround system, like I have the '90s and whatever, all set up for this chair, but I'm doing dishes in the fucking kitchen, man. It doesn't matter how much stereo or surround it is. I'm completely outside of it. Yes, you can somewhat sort of hear it, but the way I'm pointing, I'm sitting this way, so my left and right is here, and my surrounds are on my right side.
I mean,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Even this show, the thing that we're doing right now, right? Like the way you hear it through YouTube is technically not mono, even though it's recorded mono. Because we only but I could set it up as stereo and put you in, let's say, the right channel and me in the left channel. But if you
that'd
then
be
do
fucking weird. We
this,
should do it.
like you only hear one half of the conversation.
Now you're on the phone all of a sudden,
Yeah.
or you're listening to somebody on the phone with no idea what the other half says. But yeah, that'd be funny to do it. Like like mixed a little bit, faded in, so even if you do, you can still vaguely hear. But that'd be funny just to have it, like you had a proper back and forth.
But I mean, it would be unbearable if this was put out as actual mono the way it's recorded and no software tweaks to it, right? Because,
Mm-hmm.
then what if we were both in just the right channel? That would be so weird.
I've had some YouTube videos that I was watching,
I mean, you
and
can do it, but you shouldn't.
the way the theater does it, you can't really tell. But sometimes I put the headphones and I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with this? It's just only one headphone. It's working." But with the theater, you can't tell because like in a triangle per se, or when I
It
had it
up
towards the
mixes and
kitchen, it was
stuff.
just it up mixes, so it just kind of spreads it into all for the entire bar, so you can't really hear it that much. But yeah, if you have the stereo, like once the '90s are out of the boxes, it's going to be a different story completely. I can't hardly wait. It sucks though that, and I prefer this mechanically much more over the floor stand from the theater was the old Avant because it would park itself discreetly against the wall when you're not watching it, right? But then it comes
Hmm.
out, those 26 centimeters forward, which was just more than enough, or just enough per se, to be as proud as the '90s were standing. So now the problem is that I'm going to probably have to move the TV up another 10 centimeters forward from the window, which doesn't matter because at least I can open that window and not worry about hitting shit when a TV's turned by whatever for whatever reason. But the speakers, when they push in, then I can actually see the TV from the bloody living kitchen because the speakers are in the way. Right now, the boxes are obviously in the way hard. You can see 2/3 of the panel. I know, first world problems. It's terrible, but man, I've had these boxed up for fucking way too long. When I crack them open and smell the Calgary air, it's still in there, trapped. So this may be a stupid question. There's different audio quality if you use the integrated title. This thing just covered my thing.
I'm just checking what sort of TV sizes everybody has. I'm doing these polls in the meantime.
Let's see.
So apparently most people have a 65-inch TV. Runner up is 55-inch or smaller.
Mm-hmm.
77 is then, it's 6% 83 or larger. That doesn't mean, though, that is the desired outcome, so that's why the follow-up.
Mm-hmm. See, but this is what I also mean. Too expensive for a single point music source. I don't think that you understand the jewelry of it. I guess it's not just the speaker as a speaker, because if you just want a single point source, you can just go and be happy with the Sonos per se. But it's also the appearance of the speaker and the presence that it gives inside the room and how it changes the room. I think that
Or
is
the
what you
interaction with
really,
it would just like tap
and the
to it.
interaction with it, and it's a different experience than when you're looking. Yeah, you can buy a single point JBL whatever Bluetooth nonsense from whatever cheap shop. I understand that. It's not the argument, but the problem is, or problem, the difference really is, it's just the way that it looks. Like, I have no use for that Beosound one sitting here on the counter in my kitchen. Absolutely not. But it looks too beautiful to just be sitting in the box. So I powered it up and I have it here. And the only purpose that it serves every morning, when the radio turns on the V1, he is the source because I can't link into the Mozart products, and the moment is too far gone with the tune in and all this shit. So this thing is actually just sitting here as a source to a bedroom system. And yeah, I understand where you're coming from as far as the price, but then I think you're in the wrong market for an audio system. If the price makes the biggest difference, then I don't think you're shopping in the right spot. B&O is not about just the price, as far as, yes, it's premium price, but you get, you know, the componentry with it. At least, you know, software is a different story. We've already known that, but the componentry stays and outlasts anything that you buy currently anywhere in the market.
Oh yeah.
It's at least a decade, if not more. And it's not just in that sense. It's also in the sense of relevancy, that even, you know, after all that time, the system is still relevant because it's been thought thoroughly on how it's put together.
I mean, the way I generally justify it is like, if I buy X brand, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars, right? How long will that stay relevant for? Let's say it's 5 years. That's X amount of dollars divided by 5, and that's the dollar cost per year. Like, if you do the same for B&O, it's, if let's say like the other brand is 5 years, B&O it's 20 for bigger speakers, and it comes out to the same or marginally more if you calculate it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or also the presentation, like, you know, yes, it's a 2-year-old TV now, but can you really tell that it's 2 years old?
no.
And that's the difference. Like, it's, you know,
Well,
people,
you can kind of tell that your eyeballs don't hurt because the new one's just gotten so bright that it's like, oh man.
yeah, but I keep the auto power save and all that stuff on the new TVs because it's just, it, you know, guys usually turn it off because, like, you want, I'm like, I understand that when you're doing this, it's 11:30 in the morning and the sun is shining bright into the screen, but that's not when they watch the TV. They watch the TV during the evening and night hours when people actually have time physically. Like, just because the client's there during the appointment, which they should be, doesn't mean that they're home every fucking day. So when they come home and start watching the TV, then the thing is in the freaking torch mode,
Yeah.
and you're going blind. So,
say goodbye to your corneas.
but it looked good on a, what's it called? But it looked good during the day when nobody's watching it. So I always leave that auto stuff on, and it makes a big difference in the TV's picture. But yeah, B&O again, like, Matthias, it's more about the presentation in the house and the design of it all than anything else. And if you look at that show that was $1 Million Mansions, like, you know, the hundreds of thousands of dollars into the interior design, and then they ruined the fucking room with a cheap ass Samsung TV without even frame or whatever, with the cable hanging off it, or like some bullshit in ceiling speaker and a sound bar, and it looks absolutely horrid because it's an afterthought of somebody that actually lives there. It's like, fuck, well, you know, beautiful, but where do we put the TV that we actually going to use all the time?
I mean, you sit on your like $25,000 couch to look at a TV that's from Best Buy or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
Media Mart, Hi-Fi Club, or whatever.
It's a different parameter of standard as far as the design and quality
don't forget,
goes.
like, there's another thing where yes, it's expensive on the purchase, but again, the longevity, the fact that the current remote we use can still be used with automatic vinyl record players from like 1985.
Good luck with Sony doing that, or Technics, or, well, that's not even around anymore, or Panasonic. So, like, also with respect to that, you know, it all works in one coherent fashion. And I guess once you get into the B&O deep enough, then you just understand it for what it is and you live with it.
But I think a lot of it is the misconception, right? Because it's more like jewelry for your house that does audio well. Whereas like
Yes.
most other brands are doing audio well, and the looks are totally irrelevant, if not
Awful.
maybe secondary, like at best.
Yeah.
Because like most other things, like think of what you will about Bowers and Wilkins, but at least they're not a square box, right? Like at least they have like the rounded edges, or the Sonus Fabers. Like they actually bring some design. But it's an
But
alteration
between that
to
and
a
all that,
square
yeah.
box.
In
They just
between
made the
that and all that,
square look nice.
you just do a different veneers on it. That's the only difference. Like the
Yeah.
colors, the wood that matches whatever, but it's the same boring box, plus the fact that it's not an active box, so you need all this equipment, all the wires and blah 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 to hide somewhere where, you know, B&O, it's very self-contained. And that's just where it's at. It's a different product. It's not for everyone. You know, some people just will never understand it and the value of it, and some people do, and some people buy it for the looks of it. It's definitely one of the best electronics with the wife approval factor on them, and in my opinion, and in my knowledge so far, it is the only brand of electronics that actually appreciates in value over time with your product.
I mean,
So
if you want a speaker that terms in terms of testing and sound is amazing, right?
yeah.
It's a Genelec. It looks awful,
Oh
but
my
it
God, does it ever?
sounds amazing.
Yeah,
But
but
like,
that's the point.
yeah, so I, like and I'm not even against if this is more your thing, right? Like you do you, like I don't mind. It's like what Mr. Robinson says. Like the only person that needs to like it is you.
That's right. So I don't know. I like looking at all this shit. It
I
looks
mean,
way
which is
sexier
half the
than.
money, right? Like if at least for me, right? Like half the money is in like not going like, ugh, like no, you actively look at it and go like, oh, that's nice. But even 5 years on, you look at it and go, yeah, that's nice.
Mhm. No, it's even like my mom's place. You know, people come over there, and I left her with the BV9. Like that's an old TV by any measure and standard by this point of time, and people still come in like, holy fuck, like what is that? And it's just, yeah, it's a TV, because stand moves, and it's 2024, and there's people that never seen a TV turn on a stand.
Isn't it a font like the new one like 10 years old now?
Yeah, 2012, 2013 when it came out. It's more than it's pulling on 11. But it doesn't look like it, man. If you just the way that the design is done, it's meant not to look like, yes, you can tell it's a
Fucking
television,
bug
but
here somewhere, like that's like going here, but it's tiny, right? So it's like,
but yeah, it's a different story completely, in my opinion, when it comes to all the other electronics. And it's very hard to make generic stuff pretty, and I'll tell you that from my personal experience, where we do Savant systems, right, where a lot of people do in-ceiling speakers because that's just the choice you have with the Savant, right? And
yeah,
then you have the multi-row multi-zone amplifier that can be IP controlled. So yeah, you have an app, which I still don't understand how people deal with that they actually can control their entire system with a fucking iPad. It irritates the shit out of me when I'm there and I try to, and wait and blah blah blah, because the programming is, done for people that are 233 megahertz in brain process power. So every command takes 5 seconds of please wait, s'il vous plaît, and you don't have access to all the options, right? Because it's streamlined just for basically daily use. And yeah, then the only option you have is to go with some sort of speakers that are run on, 16.4 or whatever cable, or 16.2 wire out of the wall, and that's it. Like, it's, yeah, you can have a high end system, but then that is also a standalone bit that basically aux out goes into the Savant system, so you can share it to your entire house. So
mm.
yes, it works more or less like the B&O would per se, right? If you want to go linking stuff together, but you still have to have a stack of shit like ramps and whatever in order to have like the high end experience of the music. Where if cost comparatively, you can just buy, not saying 90s, but if you just buy 50s per se, then everything that normally would occupy the middle of the living room and the speakers are straddling that, you have all that real estate to play with.
I mean, even on
So
the low end, like the Kef LS50 Meta, like these are active speakers, right? And in terms of sound quality, everybody raves about them, and they're about like a third, maybe slightly less than that of the cost of a Beolab 8. But they don't have a bunch of sources built in. They don't have
are they
multi.
active?
Yeah, they're active.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure anyway. The new ones are
But they're not intelligent, rather.
sort of, but not in the same way that the Beolab 8s are. But again, this is a variation on the square box. I don't hate the look of them, but I would use them maximally as bookshelves, like this, where they like show them off in the living room like this. Like I'd
No,
want the beauty of 8s.
to me this is somewhere where I would put it on a shelf in the garage beside my shop towels. That's the look of that speaker to me. Like I would never do it. And I don't know, maybe I'm too snobbish for B&O, or I've been dipped in this sauce way too long that I can't see clearly anymore. But I have seen a lot of different systems in my existence of going around people's places and all the different things. And quite honestly, when we go in and we, let's say, replace their Sonos bullshit soundbar for a stage, it's still a joy for a person to like, holy shit, that's so much better. I'm like, oh, it is. And just the realization of that, of the client, that yeah, but it sounds much better here than in the store. I'm like, well, that's kind of the point. If it's the other way, then there's something wrong, right, with your room or
Yeah.
with the setup.
Also, a unified remote for everything goes so far in my mind still.
Oh man, it's
Look,
funny
it's
because like,
B&O is almost like Apple in that way, right? Once you're in, you get like pulled in more, and then you can't leave the ecosystem anymore. But there's reasons for that. Like I hate it. Like an eARC has fixed that for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but even with eARC, you don't generally have
full control. No,
given remote where you can like join other bits of your house to whatever your main TV is doing.
no,
And
no.
or like have backwards compatibility, like what, 40 years?
Speakers that you bought when you graduated freaking university are still compatible with your system 25 years later.
Into prepuces like looks like something one might find in a scientific lab. That's probably where these caps came from, right? Like there's a lot of science into like making these sound good, and I bet you they sound amazing in certain circumstances.
I'm certain that the shape has a lot to do with how the front looks for the wave dispersion and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I'm not shitting on them. It's just like it's not for me, and I don't think it's like it's
Which I guess
better than a
also,
square box, but it's not pretty.
but it also portrays how much better the B&O is in correcting digitally what is in front of the speaker and the shape of it itself. When you look at the Lab 8s, like they sound impeccable. And they have a big ass grill in front of them, so they should sound like this, but it's all deleted digitally through the filters and hundreds of hours. Well, I don't think it's hundreds of hours because they can do those filters very, very quickly now. But it used to be dozens of hours of listening and trying to match, and now it's a matter of like they run stuff overnight and they come back to just
But they're
a
also the only
amount of
ones that
data.
have been doing active speakers since like the early 90s.
Well, yeah, well, I guess the
Like
first
who else
active
did active
speaker was
speakers?
it was the Beoamp 350, I think, that was underneath the Penta when the
Yeah.
Pentas were released in 1987, and then I think 2 years later it was the Beoamp, or I think it was called Beoamp 350, and that was basically the module that made the Pentas. And then new Penta 2s that came out, they had basically were the active speakers. But that's something that I'm sure when Steve gets back on the podcast, he would be more than happy to break down for y'all, because he's beloved Pentas. So But yeah, and you look, fuck, man, like look at the Pentas anyways, like that far back, and they had display on them to tell you the volume and the CD track or a radio channel you're listening to. How many speakers from that era do you know that did that? Which I think is a loss now that some of them should have that display.
Maybe it can come back with BeoLink Surround.
Yeah, but I think it would be nice if they actually camel hidden the on the top of the BeoLab 8. Like let's say the play buttons and skip forward and backwards were actually a touchscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed to whatever the album art per se and the text and then the metadata information.
I mean, maybe I just don't like 828s if you BeoLinks around them, that the volume dial can go up and down with it, right? So it's not like a number indicator, but it's a percentage of max.
Yeah, Pentas look dated, but they still look very good. Depends on whatever the environment they are in, but they look good with the classic system.
It very much depends on how well you're taking care of the front frets, essentially.
That's why my blinds are always down. They come up once the sun goes down because I try to do as least sun damage into all of this as possible. Don't like it.
I mean, I personally like them more when they're like redone in like a darker
darker cloth. Yeah.
I like pretty much everybody knows by now, I'm not the biggest fan of Pentas. Like, I don't hate them, but they're a bit sort of,
they have a very dated sound for me nowadays.
Woolly, or maybe woolly, warm sound, I guess. But I much prefer, and this is partially how I grew up with the BeoLab ones, that like almost to the point of shrill, but it's kind of not, because it never like goes distorted, but it's like piercing.
Yeah, the lab ones, man.
Like those, was it Space Odyssey? You have like that high, like sort of dog whistle that just gets louder at some point, and it's like sort of going like you sit there like, this hurts, but it's kind of meant to be that, right?
That's right. Maybe I'll unpack the lab ones and put them in my bedroom instead of getting the 12-2s in white.
Could do that.
Walk around like, excuse me, like a proper Canadian.
Would also give you a chance to connect a BeoConnect core to them.
No, I would just drive them off of a.
Yeah, but just to see if they finally have bass.
Oh, that would be an interesting point.
Because the amount of bass 18s all of a sudden have on a BeoConnect core is kind of crazy. So imagine what it could, because the drivers on ones are enormous compared to 18s.
Yeah, they're just limited. But, well, I can plug it into the theater for that matter.
Yeah, I do think there is something for the pure 2.0 kind of setup, personally, though.
Well, I prefer, honestly, I don't know. I will definitely report back once the 90s are online and working with the theater and tuned. I'll see, but I'm certain that I'll be running mostly everything on direct mode. So, recently bought a shape. How much is the difference between core and connect core? Billy, I did the A to B in the shop, and I was impressed.
Depending on how you use it, you will never know if you do not A/B test it. Also, if it's the shape is just like there is something playing, so I'm not sitting in silence and going mad, then it's also depending like on the volume, right? If it's background music, you can easily talk over the differences much less.
Yes.
But if you are to the point where, like, if you get a call, you think, oh, I'll better turn it down, then the difference is much greater.
For me, honestly, like, I didn't like the band on the wall as much as I liked the regular stereo. But for the regular stereo, if you're going to do the regular stereo on it, I would suggest you separate the speakers in the tiles, that you have 2 on the right and 2 on the left. And don't plug in the USB cable from the core original. Then you can reset the core to have the speaker, or not the speaker, to have the a master mode on the Beo amp or the shapes amp, you need the core anyways to be able to reset it to factory settings, which is kind of silly that you can't do that with the BeoConnect core. But if you set it for that, then you just have a stereo, which I find sounded the best on the old core. Now, also the old core, if you don't plug in the USB into the amplifier and you don't turn it into a shape core, then the link eye in the DPL port of the core will work with the old BO4 remote control unchanged. If you plug it in, it fucks the core irreversibly. That it'll only take Bio Remote 1 commands, and some of the commands are out to lunch now.
Still find that
So
so strange that a
it's
software change somehow becomes permanent.
it's absolutely frustrating. So that's my suggestions as far as like, or the points that to look at. Uh, I don't know. I'm gonna keep. I have the 12 tile shape, of course, with 4 speakers and an amp. I am going to keep the old core. I said this on the last podcast. Fuck the $1,000, whatever I could sell it for or whatnot, or $700. But whoever has something, they will never be able to factory reset their core to service it. So if you sell it, you are kind of hooped. It has to be the same configuration, more or less, type of thing, because you won't be able to reset the amplifier with the new core. Which I'm hoping that that's going to be some sort of a workaround with a USB-C key that you plug in, and it just runs a script to wipe it uh, through the BeoConnect core. But that is the only difference between them. Now, when it comes to the sound quality, it's essentially what you're listening to is the amplifier of the Beosound shape. You're not really listening to the core because core is connected optically, and a USB is for the control, and the power link is extra. So if you wanted to, let's say, hook up a BeoLab 19 underneath your core, you can do that. So the sound processing is done inside the Beo shape amplifier, where with the core connect, it's being fed analog signal from the COM port. It's a little different pinout than the power link, but it's more or less, you have the left and right and the gist of it. Plus, I think it's going to be the additional communication to the additional amps if they're in the system.
Wait, so can you
And
still connect a sub to the BeoConnect core?
no, not right now. It's not possible. The power link is disabled. So if you are playing with the idea that you want to have, like, myself, I'm like, fuck, I'll put the Lab 11 underneath the core if I'm going to build it together one day, because just why not, right? You are not able to do that with a BeoConnect core at this point.
I mean, Billy does have a theater, so you can just run a cable from your theaters as a trial or maybe permanent.
If you are gonna, I think that's what you're doing with them. You're gonna use them as the rear channels, if I understand correctly.
Don't remember.
You'll be able to use them as well, because you can still plug in the power link directly into the amplifier, but it only works with one amp. If you have two amplifiers in your shape system, it's not going to work. But if you have just one, then you are able to dually use your system. You can use it with your core, and you can use it as the rear channels if they're wired in. I'm not really planning to use my BeoLab 11 with my theater anymore, because at this
The big
point
boys are out.
the big boys are still in the box. But when they come out, I was actually just thinking of putting on a countertop because it resembles a vase. That's about all that would do. I love the look of the BeoLab 11. The sound performance is a different story, but I do not have a use for it. Maybe I'll pair it up with the BeoLab 4s, but I thought about, I toyed with the idea of giving my girlfriend the Lab 4s as the rear speakers for the V1, so then we can at least have some sort of surround. And yeah, go from there. But I'm not going to plug it into anything, my friend, at all. It's just in a BeoLab 90 scenario, the Lab 11 will make no difference, like absolutely zero difference. So other than it's gonna eat power for no reason. But yeah. I thought about doing that, but then again, if I put the Lab 11, let's say in the bedroom, the amount of clearance that I have between the bed and the walk space, the V1 is just perfectly in enough that I can pass with the shoulder. If I introduce something that comes out now another 20 centimeters off the wall, it's
You're gonna
not
do
gonna.
one of these weaving things to
Yeah, I'm
get,
not gonna do the lambada dance every time I want to get into my bed.
and that's gonna go
And
wrong as the moment you're drunk enough. Like you're
well, there's
gonna
gonna be a
like
night.
boot that 11.
Fucking kick it on the way from the bathroom at middle of the night, completely forgetting about it. But at least it's silver because the cat, like, she disappears completely in the dark.
And
But
then the
these,
next morning, it's like, why is my toe like this?
that's right. But I've had the idea of putting it with my BeoVision V132 in the bedroom. But if I'm gonna do that, I'll probably throw in the BeoLab 12-2s if I ever decide to get them from the shop. But I don't know. I also thought about putting a whole, like a moss cloud of a shape around the V1 as well to make those to make that as a stereo speakers, and center channel would be the V1. But quite honestly, like I gave my girlfriend a deal that I'm putting a TV in the bedroom because I'm quite happy with the single point stereo speaker like Emerge in the bed, because my logic to that is that if you're sleeping, you got one ear on the fucking pillow anyways, so you are also listening with a single point. And it doesn't matter. And for me, that's exactly what was also with the shape, where I didn't care much. Like, the only time that I had used the band on the wall is when I was doing the laundry and took it out of the dryer and I spread it all over the bed. So when I was walking in front of the shape, the imaging never changed. It was just listening basically to the same speaker or the wall along the bed. But yeah, the Lab 11, I think I'm not gonna box it up. I really like the look of it, but I might box it up for the sake of the UV damage onto the soft touch soft paint. But we'll see. I don't think it served its purpose for more than it's ever had before, because that subwoofer was before I bought it from a guy. I traded it in. The gentleman that sold the house to the guys that I bought the sub from. I know for a fact that sub sat there for 11 years in standby
Yeah, just doing nothing.
because it was connected to the Beosound Encore, Beosound 5 Encore, and the power supply died in that long time ago, so it never worked because they used the V140 with a jack adapter that I made for the headphones because he wanted to use the headphones, and the sub just stood in that room on the wall for 11 years before I took it back off, and now it's here. I just changed the grills from this black to silver as I really wanted it to look, but unfortunately it'll just die looking like that because I don't have a use for it. And no, I'm not selling it yet. I don't think I'm going to sell it. But money talks and bullshit walks, as they say.
Maybe you need a sub in your storage room.
I thought about it. I thought about leaving either a level or an Emerge in there and put the Beosound one in the bedroom. I mean, the bathroom, because I have sound in every room. I have more than one product in every room now, for God's sake. So it's a little redundant, but uh, that's what happens with B&O, I guess. On a final note, that's the drawback of owning this gear. That it's not a drawback. You accumulate so much of it over time, and it's so hard for you to part with it that you repurpose it, you use it, and you buy more just to use the old with newer because it makes sense to just do it. Like for me, I could just buy another core, connect, and hook up the sub with the Lab 11, Lab ones in the fucking storage room for no reason, just to sit them and ooh, it sounds great here. But you just don't toss it. The TVs are different stories, but the sound, the physics of sound never changed. We still gotta push air. It's just the efficiency of how it does it.
I have a ridiculous system for here, but it's the way things go.
That's adequate. 18s are adequate. They're good for any room.
Anyway, for everybody that's gonna watch Formula One, have fun. It should start like now somewhere, and
we'll see you in 2 weeks. So it's gonna be a time correction too in 2 weeks' time.
I think Europe has already had it. I'm not sure if we have.
Yeah, they had it today. We're gonna have it in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks' time, we're gonna see you at what?
The
Well, I
same
guess
time
the same
for
time.
us.
Yeah, it's the same time for us. So fucking right, bro. That's awesome.
YouTube will tell you.
That's it. We'll get you put the notifications on and leave a like.
Yeah, have a good time, everybody, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.